Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Healing Art After Hours. I'm Shauna Robeson with Creating Space Coastal, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about iris folding mixed with other collage techniques. I didn't really know where to put iris folding in, and I thought with my collage that made sense because you're adhering and it's paper, so I thought it would work. So I'm going to be making this fun collage iris fold art. And I'll show you how to do that. And I'll also do a little tutorial on how to create your own iris pattern. And also I'll talk about how to use this template that I created. And I do have a PDF of this online. I did laminate mine, but there's a way you can use this to make a lot of different sizes of irises. So if you want to see how, stay tuned. Let's get going. So tonight we are going to be talking about iris fold. This is something that I came across recently when I was trying to figure out a design for my my stepmom, who is a quilter. So I was trying to think of something that was like quilting, and I came across this design, and I didn't know where to put it in the scheme of the classes that I cover. But I thought in collage it kind of works because it is, it's paper, and while you use tape, it's still your adhering paper. So I think it fits under collage nicely. So I'm going to show you how to create your own pattern, but there are a million patterns out online. So maybe you guys found one. This is a simple 4-sided pattern that I used with the circle. And this is what the back looks like. So, and I just, I use basically this little office. You'll be using just some clear tape, thin tape, and then I did put some of this packing tape over the top after I got it all down, just to kind of press it. Now it does have a little bit of thickness, so when you do use this, you'll want to have the top sheet, and then you could probably do dimensional tape or something, because it has a little bit of dimensions. So I would use dimensional tape to tape it down to my page, probably, or a card or whatever, however you're going to use it. So just be aware, it does take up some space. Now, this paper that I used is decorative paper, and it's not cardstock, but it's thicker than what I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to be actually going through magazines and things like that, ads, so the paper is going to be thinner, so it'll lay a little flatter than this does. But so let's just talk about how to make that. I told you there were a bunch of designs online, and what I did is I just took a bunch of different patterns and I stuck them on a Word document and printed it out. So you can see there's lots of different shapes. Some people make their own patterns. Some are digital. So whatever shape you want, you can use. Just search the iris pattern. And the reason it's called iris, and this I learned in my research, is actually it's the iris of a camera. You know how it's got that little opening that opens and closes. And so that's kind of what it looks like. I always thought it was like the flower, and I thought, well, it's not like a flower. But it's the iris of a lens, okay? So what you'll need is this top piece is what you're going to be attaching the pages to, and that's called the aperture. So whatever the shape is that you want to do. And you can, cut out a shape using, of course, die cuts or punches or cutting. Now I'm going to do a square because it's easy to do with just a blade and a ruler, but if you have any die cuts or things like that, you can make a variety of patterns. So the aperture is going to be cardstock that has basically a window cut out of whatever shape that you're interested in doing. And you'll need to have a pattern that is the appropriate size for whatever pattern you're doing, and the appropriate shape. So what I decided to do is create a template, and I did put this online, so you can download a PDF or a JPEG of it. So I hand created this, template, and then I laminated it so I can reuse this with whatever patterns I want. Now this is a 4-sided pattern. You can have a 3-sided, like a triangle, or you can have a custom one. I made this myself as well from a design I saw online. I just used my compass and created a point and then just did radials out. So this is a very different design than some of the others. And this was the die cut that I used to get my aperture. So once you kind of know how to create your own, then you can have some fun with whatever size, whatever shapes, or whatever designs you want to do. And that's why I wanted to do just a little tutorial on creating a simple one, so that that will help you to create more advanced ones if you decide that you really enjoy. So, and I don't know if this is a great idea yet or not. This was an idea I had that, hey, no matter what size I have, I can make up to this size, right? I could just use this pattern underneath my project. And I just line it up, tape it to it, and then this is my template. And it can be any of these sizes. It can even be small. And I'll demonstrate how to use it in a little bit. But and like I said, I don't know if it's a great idea yet or not. I did try it out, and I still think it's a good idea. The challenge is the numbering system, but I'll explain how to use it in a second too. This is a small version of one that I was creating, and I thought, well, let's say I want to make a circle. If I just make a square that's bigger than the circle, I can still use whatever size circle that's smaller than that. I could still create something that's, as long as it's smaller than whatever the square pattern is. So I just drew in a circle to kind of see where that pattern would be. And I think that works out okay. All right, so how would I go about making the design? And the first step is just creating a square. If you already have a square cut out of something, you could just, do the pencil lines so you can see how big that square is. And it doesn't matter really how fancy this looks, the pattern, because this is not going to be part of your project. This is just the template. Okay, so the easiest way I think to do this is first you have to decide what is the width of these little wedges. And I have them about 3 inches, or I'm sorry, 3/8 of an inch, or you could even use centimeters. Centimeters is a good length or good increment, but you can choose whatever size, and you can decide if you want it to get smaller and smaller. That's a little more complex. I'm not going to show that. So I'm just going to use one size. And so all you have to do, and there's 2 ways that I see people doing this. One is you can cut a strip of paper that's the size that you're using, and you could just use that as a template. And that's fine. It's just that I would want the paper to be firm enough that it's not going to move as I align it. So I just choose to do it this way. But basically, I'm just going to mark at the 1 centimeter. So I'm going to use 1 centimeter. Let me get closer so you guys can see. All right, so I marked my 1 centimeter point. I'm going to rotate my page, and then I'm going to mark my 1 centimeter point again. Get it on centimeters, Shauna. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate my page. I'm going to mark my 1 centimeter once again. It gets a little redundant. That's okay. And then I'm going to rotate once again. And I just think that doing it this way by rotating the page is an easy way to not get confused. Okay, now I'm rotating the page again, and I notice that, oh, I already have a dot here. Okay, once you see that you have your marking, go ahead and connect the dots. So now I'm going to go from one dot to the other dot. And normally I would have my head right over it so I could see, but then I'd be right in the camera. So we'll do my best. Okay, rotate the paper and go from where you just finished to the next dot. You're just connecting the dots. And rotate the page, connect the dots. Rotate the page, connect the dots. Rotate the page. Now, you notice when I rotated the page, there were no open dots. There was a complete square. So now I'm going to number. I'm going to number in order, starting with my first complete area. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because the main thing is you have to place these folds in the proper order. That's going to be important. So you want to get the order correct. Okay. Once you have your numbers, you're going to do the same thing, only in the smaller square. See, we're basically just going to make smaller and smaller squares. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to mark my centimeter, rotate my page, rotate my page, mark it, rotate my page. I see a dot, so I'm going to connect the dots. And then I'm going to rotate and I see that all my dots are filled. So now I'm going to continue counting. Now at this point, I want to continue the counting. So I'm going to look over to the left and whatever the number is to my left, because 1 should be in the upper right corner. I always want to end kind of in this orientation. So I look over to the left, the last number that was here, I'm going to continue from the next number. Okay, so and here it'd be 5, 6, 7, 8. It's basically whatever the number above it is plus 4, but I just think it's easy enough to look over here and see what that number is and then continue the count. All right, and now I'm going to go into that next smaller one and do the same thing. And you just continue this cycle. And I did that for that big giant thing, by the way. It takes a little time, but if you just think of it as like a Zentangle, think of it as part of the process, then you can maybe enjoy it. All right, and I'm back to there being a dot, so I'm going to connect my dots. And you could do the same process with the triangle. You just basically have 3 sides to do instead of 4. And you just keep going around and around. Okay, so now I'm back at the top. I'm going to look over here, 8. So 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so you can go with any size. You just want to make sure it's a square. And you pick your measurement, your increments that you want to do. It can be 1/2 inch, could be, depending on how big your square is, it could be 1 inch, whatever that is. The next part is going to be, of course, getting ready to put it together. So you pick your aperture, pick whatever your shape is going to be. And since these are 3/8, I'm going to want to have strips of paper that are at least, I would say, you know, about double that. So at least, because you're going to want to fold it. So these are inch strips. So inch strips work. You just have to, you're going to be folding them, and it doesn't matter if they're folded perfectly. I like to fold them where I can see the white strip behind it, the backing of the paper, so that I can tell which side is the design side and which side is the reverse, so the back. So then what I'm going to be doing, and I'll show you the whole thing in a little bit, but I just wanted to kind of tell you what we're going to be doing so you have an idea in case you get ahead of me. So once you have the paper that you're going to choose, now I'm going to pick through my magazines and stuff. but I'm just going to demonstrate with this paper that I used for that other one. So you just have your little folded strips. And then what you're going to do is starting with the one. Now, if you have multiple colors, you can mark it. Like, let's say I have these two colors I'm using. I could write in my design A and B for color A and color B, so that when I get to that point, I don't have to think. I can just say, okay, I know that this one is A and this one is B, and I just grab the right color. So in this case, I would say my one, because I'm alternating colors. So this side's going to be A, and then my 2 is going to be B, and then 3 is going to be A, and 4 is going to be B. And then I just alternate that around. So all of this whole strip is going to be A, B, B. So depending on what pattern you want, you could mark in your colors. And that's how I would do it. Some people do 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. You could do it that way too, but I just think this way gives a little more flexibility. You can always add the color scheme if you want. And what we're going to be doing, so let's say I am using, this is too big, but I don't have a square cut out right now. But I'm going to start with my, let's just move the pattern down a little bit, my 1A. So I'm going to tape this down to my page. And then with my first A color, I'm going to take the fold and bring it right to that line. Okay. And I don't need all this paper. All I need is enough that's going to get past there, so I can just, tear off any extra. Make sure that your pattern's not going to move. And I can take a tiny little bit of tape. I even tear it and then tear it in half again. And then I'm going to tape those ends, making sure that whatever comes through the window is clean. So that's going to be the folded edge. I don't want any tape to come out this way. I can always trim it off in the edge there. Okay, now I'm going to go to my number 2. So whatever the next number is where I'm going to go, and that's right there. And I just put my folded edge right up to that line. And then tape it down. And you just repeat that. Oops, I put the tape right where I said not to. In the open window. I don't want the tape in the open window. Okay, 2. And I'll demonstrate the whole thing in a little bit, but I just wanted, for those of you who move a little faster, you to have an idea where we're going with this. And then I would go to 3, and then I would go to 4. So you just continue around in that order, because it's going to be like stair steps, and they have to be in that order. Okay, so that's where we're headed. And that's how to create your own design of any size that you want. Now, for this exercise, I had written in the instructions to collect some colors that you want. And I chose, and I'll show you how I chose this because I think this is kind of fun. I took a spinner from an old Chutes and Ladders game, and I rigged it onto my color wheel. So now I can randomly, oh, look, it even selected the same color, blue, green. So I wanted complementary colors. So I spun it and it picked blue, green, and then the complementary color is across the color wheel. So that's red, orange. So those are my 2 colors that I'm going to use for my iris. But anyway, I thought this was just a fun idea. It doesn't always, oh, now it's going to hit blue, green every time. It doesn't usually hit the same one every time. But anyway, I just pulled out the little eyelet that was in there, and this snapped together and created a cool little random color generator. All right, so now I'm going to go through my materials, and right now I'm not caring about the pattern so much as I want the color. So I really want blue green, which this has a lot of blue green, so I could take some of that. And I don't mind if there's some I don't mind if there's some writing on there. So I'm just going to take this page. I'm just going to grab a bunch of things with the color. Oops, that's got some. Just so I have lots of material. So blue-green is blue-green and then red-orange. So those are the colors I'm looking for. And I'm going to make strips. So I want it to be big enough that I can make a strip of it. Maybe the bottom of that I could do. Not much. This might have some blue-green because it's a Pensacola Beach Visitor Guide. Oh, and it even has these little waves. That's interesting. Even the front has blue-green. So I should be able to find some fun. Like, that's really cool right there. I like this little wave pattern. That's almost like patterned paper. I think I've got a lot of blue green, and I think I just need to find red orange now. So yeah, that was pretty much a gold mine of blue green. Now let's see if I can find some red orange. You know what? That's kind of red orange in my. That's an interesting pattern. This is what one of these I used for that little girl collage that I did before. Oh, there's some kind of orange, and maybe it's not going to be red orange. Maybe it'll be orange and then red, or I might have to kind of mix it up. We'll see. Now I'm going to be doing my collage on a black piece of paper, and I do have to create my aperture. Trying to talk and create at the same time. Sometimes it's beyond me. All right, so now if I use this, the only challenge to using this, let's see, I'm going to make that. How big is this? The biggest challenge to using this is that not all the numbers are written on there. So see how like these numbers are kind of off the edge. So there's a couple different things you can do. First, I want to decide, what orientation do I want the centerpiece to be? So if I want it to be square, then I can rotate it so that the square is flush with my square. And I want to make it as even around the edges as possible. So I'm just kind of adjusting a little bit. Okay. Once I get it where it looks like it's pretty centered, I'm going to create a little hinge, because right now I have to figure out what these other numbers are. So that's the challenge. If I had a dry erase marker that it was a fine print, I could write it in. I can write in those numbers there, but I don't. So I'm just going to write 58. I'm just going to write the numbers because I'm going to need to know the order of operation. So I'm just writing in the numbers of these little wedges. And that's why making, one for one project is can be a little bit easier, but I think this is easy enough to do. I mean, compared to making one each size of whatever you have, I think this is a little bit faster. It's still a little bit of a trial, but I think it would work. Okay, so what I want to do now that I have these numbers there, maybe I could have marked them there, but then it would be hard to see. So I think the way that it is fine. But I have to find the lowest number of my grouping because, right, the numbers are going to be different. So 45, I think that looks like, okay, 45, 46, 47, 48. So I think 45 is the lowest number that I have. And that's where I have to start. So as long as you know where you're starting, doesn't matter if it's 1, you just have to start at the lowest number and work up. That's the main thing. Okay, so this is ready to go. Now I just need to get my paper pieces ready. And I'm going to make them about 1 inch. And I'm going to fold them so I can just try to fold them where I get all the red. Hopefully that'll be enough. And I'm just going to do this. I'm going to just haircut. And you could even count your little wedges to see how many pieces you want. You know, you can just count the number of whatever color it is if you want to get more specific. Okay. All right, I'm going to make a blue pile and the blue-green pile and then the orange pile. I like to come at projects with something in mind, but I always, even when I do have something in mind, I also like to come at projects with an open mind, whereas if things change as I'm going along, I don't get too attached to whatever I have in mind. So there is something that I have in mind only because, you know, for the class, I wanted to have a plan. But I also like to leave things a little bit free and organic. So we'll see how this develops. But I think I'm going to alternate my colors. I think that'll be fun. And I think what I'll do is I'm not going to write A or anything on these because it's the template, but I can remember alternating. But if I had a dry erase marker, I could write in, like if I wanted to, you know, I could mark the colors. If I'm doing something that's a little bit more complex, I could do that. So I'm just gonna start with my 45. That was the low one. And I'm gonna start with my bluish, my blue-green. See, start laying it down. And you can use a bone folder if you want to get a nice crease on your folds. And I'm going to take this tape and then I'm going to basically tear that in half. Like I really just need a little tiny amount. I don't want to build up more than I need. I'm just going to glue or tape the ends down. Getting my new color. Now I'm going to be doing the next layer. So I think I'm going to get a different color. I'll use the same strip for each layer. But I think when it's right next to each other, I want a slight variation. So all right, and now I'm going to 50. So I'm just rotating my project 50. It's like basket weaving on my paper. Right, 55. Oh, oh yeah, I did do, that is orange underneath. I folded it over. It had the teal on it, so I got confused for a second. I'm like, no, I just, it's this color that's showing. So no need to panic. Kind of reminds me of knitting a little bit. Or like it's kind of a mandala. It's kind of a paper collage mandala. Collage mandala. All right. 50, I'm assuming whatever. I covered that number, but it's going to be that one. All right, and then we're back to red orange, even though that looks blue. Nine. All right, 16. Fun. And this is why you might consider having a bigger pattern at the start and then getting smaller and smaller, because you know, the smaller it is all the way around, the longer it'll take, or the bigger it is, the quicker it'll go. So you can kind of balance it out if you do it that way. But all right, 62. I'm going to be really curious to see how this turns out because it's not going to be, it's not decorative paper. So it's going to be interesting. I think it'll be interesting. Kind of exciting, the reveal. See if you got it right, because if you didn't get the order right, then that could get interesting. All right, let's add some turkey in there.
Shauna, you were just saying your order. That means the blues are opposite always and the oranges are always opposite, correct?
Right. So I'm alternating the color. So you can kind of think of it as odds.
Blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
Because a lot of your blues are not quite the same blues. They differentiate.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm trying to make it so each layer, like each rotation, I use the same
Type of pattern.
paper. So the pattern's similar within this row, but it doesn't have to be.
I see.
But I'm trying to think to do that. Like I did the turkey here, so now I'm going to do the turkey here. And so this pattern, I'm using the same strip, so it'll somewhat look similar on each side. We'll see.
Okay.
That's what I have in my mind anyway. What happened?
Okay. I'm on 4s.
And you can even do 4 different colors if you want.
No. I'm just on number 4. And you're on number 60.
Oh, God. Well, yeah. I mean,
But I have 40 squares.
Okay. Yeah, I'm booking it not to get you guys behind, but because otherwise it'll be a 5-hour class if I don't. I could have done a simpler pattern, but yeah, you could have it where they're bigger and that way it just takes less pieces to do too. And I already have my template ready, so that helps. Hi, everyone. Just a reminder to please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Make comments. Let me know how I'm doing. If you're finding my content helpful, I appreciate it. Let's get back to it. And then I like to pick something for the center too, like a little centerpiece. So I'll have to figure out what that's going to be. I'm just using this to reach it out. Just to simplify. I could have just cut it out too, but all right, now before I glue that on, I want to see how it's lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my pattern. This tape does not, I thought it would come off the laminate easy, but it seems like it sticks more to the, I think it's sticking more to the laminate than it is to the paper. Interesting. Not what I want. Huh, that's interesting.
Yay, that looks beautiful.
And that's not even the fun side yet. Okay, let's see what it looks. Look at that.
Oh,
You guys.
oh, neat.
Isn't that fun? I think I got all the colors. Yeah, I've got a little, this white part probably isn't great. I missed that, but other than that, I'm really liking that, you guys. Okay. I like that. I like it better than the designer paper. There's only that one that I really don't care for, but I could probably just color that in, you know, that little white strip there with some an alcohol marker. Okay, let's put our centerpiece. See how we want that. Our little shark. There, a little shark. Okay. Now I'm going to glue everything down. A bit of packing, oh, a little bit of packing tape, not the entire roll, Shauna. How about I can glue my or tape my centerpiece down and kind of just fixes everything. And then I'm just trimming off anything that's poking out the sides. I've got my iris. Now I'm just going to get some papers for my background. Yeah, I'm really digging that. It's so vibrant. Much more vibrant than my other papers. And that's what, you know, Costco Kellogg. So, all right, for my background, I just wanted it to be pretty simple because I want this to be the centerpiece. So I'm going to just look for black, and I want it to be black and white. I'm going to do it on black background. So this is going to be in the center, and then I want this, the background to just kind of radiate out is what I'm picturing, but I just want it to be print, like words. So I'm going to just try and find pages that are like, I just want black and white print words, but I want to tear it in a way that it's kind of radial towards the center. So I want like a full page of words. That's going to be harder to find, but we'll see. Like this might work. This one. And I might incorporate some of the black of the page behind it. So it's kind of a black and white radial. Maybe that one work. If I check the back and see if there's anything that I really would like for different collage material, then I'll, you know, maybe be careful not to use it. anything in my. All right, I'm going to just see if I have enough for what I have in mind. So the idea that I have is kind of that shadow effect, but I'm going to maybe use multiple pages. So I'm going to try to use the tear technique, but I don't want any, like, I don't think I want clean edges. I'm going to just tear off anything that this doesn't have any writing on it. I don't want blank page. I don't want that blue. So, okay. And then I want it to be kind of like wedges. So I'm going to tear it. If this is going to work. That's what I have in my head. It's one of those things. So I kind of want it to be like shards of glass radiating. So I'm going to try to tear it like that. See, that works. So kind of towards the center. The center will be underneath this, so it doesn't matter too much. I think maybe I'll just mark where this is going to be roughly, so I know that where it's going to disappear, so I don't have to worry about that edge. Okay, I like that piece. One down. So if I just tear it. Yeah, that'll work. And then different sizes. Just web, and then alternate how I tear it. That'll work. Okay. Hmm. I kind of like this map. I don't know if I want to keep that. I'm just gonna not. I'm just gonna not. Cutting off just getting rid of the edges that don't have any print on them, because oops, I don't want my good pieces underneath where I'm tearing. I don't accidentally tear them. which is in this corner. My friend, her name is Shauna, and she was in a concert recently. She does tango. And so she sang this song for this concert. And so now that song is in my head because she sent me the video of this concert that she did. And she did such a great job. I'm proud of her. But now I have this tangled up song in my trying not to sing it. But it's kind of catchy. And if I'm by myself, I'm usually either listening to a podcast or music and singing along when I'm doing my art. All right, that might be enough. Let's see. Let's just put it out there and see. I don't want make these longest pieces. Want everything to kind of radiate. I might just have them go off the page and then trim it all down so that I don't have to worry about it. I like that idea. The question is, yeah, I think I'm going to leave that black and behind there. In between, I kind of like that. It's almost like a dartboard. And then that in the middle. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think I like that. Okay. So I'm just going to glue these babies down. I might add, I feel like I could use like a couple more pieces. And then it'll be fun to later on read some of the words that I captured without knowing. That could be fun. And I could even maybe highlight some of them, like circle some of the words that I like. Ooh, I like that idea. Maybe do like one of those like poetries where you circle the words. I don't know. I've never done that before. Heard of it. Okay. And I don't want them right next to each other. Put that over there. Okay. I'm liking that. All right. Time to glue. And I had this little sort of a glue pad, if you will. Now I've got covered in paper pieces. I just have a piece of scratch, like a paper print from this catalog, and it's thick paper and it's glossy. But I like to have a surface that the glue, you know, because if I put glue, too much glue, I want to have a place for it to go that's not my surface. So I just have this scratch paper. That's about okay. Okay, I think that's everybody. Okay, so there's my, oh, this one kind of got, I don't like that it's not off the edge. So let's redo that. Yeah, that'll be better. Like just one little straggler, not following the rules. Okay. And then this guy in the middle. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm going to use some foam tape. Grab that. Oh, those are really thick. I don't think I want it that thick. I guess I could use these up. They're little radial. These are for when those window shaker cards. They're just pieces left over, but they're too small to make a window. So I'm going to use them to, I should have left the trying to use up all like leftover scraps of different projects and things like that. So that's what this is. It's one of those things that's like, well, I'm never gonna use it on a card that I'm gonna mail because it's too thick. So this is a perfect project for it. Right. Got my shark. Upright. And then I'm just, like I said, I might go through and find words. I don't know. There's things about, there's different places like travels, on the road, feeling the beat. Oh, I like that one. Journey within. That's a really cool one. Okay. I gotta stop. But I really like those two. So maybe I'll go in and just kind of I'll select some things like that would be a fun addition. I love feeling the beat. I'm gonna just select that right now. Feeling the beat. And I don't know if I want to do color. I think I'm just gonna do it in black. Feel the beat. I think that's really cool. And then journey within. That's really cool. So maybe I'll just go in and find words that I like. Dreaming. SoCal. Okay. That's the next step, just to kind of add some interest, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I just hand drew something that's not really that precise, kind of randomly to show another way to do it, but I thought I'd go ahead and try to make something with it. So I'm going to give it a try. Apparently makes it a lot faster when you don't measure the any of the sides, you just freehand it. That's for sure. And what should be in the center of this one? Can you tell? Oh, there's a camera. That's the perfect thing. Perfect thing. Okay, so even if you do hand draw without measuring, and you can still get kind of an interesting, you know what I want to do though? I think I want to see if there's room for the whole camera. Right, so you can still get an interesting pattern even if you do no measuring. I didn't even worry about whether or not I was lining these up. That I think would give a little more cohesion in the pattern, but I still think it's really fun. So that's that little side project. All right, I'm going to stop. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for another episode of Healing Art After Hours. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, etc. to help out my channel if you find my content helpful. And as always, happy creating. See you next time.